My name is Jesse, and I work with small businesses in the government marketplace. You're listening to FedBiz'5, where you get informed, get connected, and get results on everything government contracting. Hello, and welcome to another episode of FedBiz'5. In this episode, we will be discussing the benefits of reaching out to government buyers and how best to accomplish cold calling to the government. Today, Frank Krebs, Senior Contracting Specialist. Welcome back, Frank.
Hey, thanks, Jesse. It's good to be back as we are going to look today to help small businesses understand the importance of building relationships with government buyers and contracting officers.
Wonderful. All right, so let's first discuss who in the government a small business should be reaching out to so that they can build a relationship.
Okay, yes, it's very important for small businesses to reach out to government buyers within the federal agencies that they want to do work in. That would be the agencies that you are targeting. No matter what type of business you are, not every agency is a good fit for you. You need to do some research. Research those agencies and identify the ones whose needs most closely meet your core competencies. So, for example, if you're a tree service company that also does landscaping, well, any agency that has a building may need landscaping services. But which agencies actually have a need for more of your services? The National Park Service or USDA Forest Service come to mind for any tree service company.
Yeah, those definitely sound like good ones.
Yeah, they would be two great federal agencies that a business in that line of work should target. And as for state or local government, I would include any department or divisions of parks and recreations or any local agriculture agencies.
Excellent. So it sounds like every small business must determine on their own where they fit the best and focus on that agency or agencies, right?
Right. That's absolutely correct. Every small business needs to focus their attention on one or two agencies max, at least until they have won a few contracts and feel more comfortable moving into other agencies. Therefore, your outreach must be targeted to those specific few agencies. Otherwise, you're spreading yourself too thin, which will not result in success, only frustration.
Oh, yeah. So once a company determines the agencies they want to focus on, what do they need to know when reaching out to the buyers and contracting officers of said agencies?
Good question, Jesse. The first thing I always tell folks is they need to identify a reason for the call. It can be about an open procurement. It can be about a prior procurement. It can be about future acquisition planning. It really doesn't matter as long as it's simply the opening to begin a conversation. Now, second, you must have a compelling opening statement. You also must rehearse this statement prior to calling. A good opening statement should last about 25 to 30 seconds. As any longer, you run the risk of losing the attention of the buyer. You should first introduce yourself and the name of the business, the reason for the call, the fact that you are reaching out to this buyer as you want to do business with his or her agency, and you want to let them know why they want to do business with you and your company. Here's an example of a good opening statement.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Frank Krebs, and I'm with XYZ Inc., and I'm calling regarding a contract you recently awarded. I've identified your agency as an agency that aligns very closely with my company's core competencies. We're a certified, veteran-owned small business that specializes in landscaping services, tree trimming, and removal services. And I'd like to understand how my firm can help you meet your agency's mission and serve the people that you are tasked with serving.
Well, that's a great one, man. Definitely is something that would gather the attention of the government buyer. But wouldn't it be better to ask if they have any contracts that meet your core competencies?
Jesse, that's exactly what most people would expect and what the vast majority actually do. But remember, you're reaching out to a buyer who works for an agency that you've targeted as a good fit for your firm. As such, you want much more than a single contract. You're wanting to build a relationship with this buyer. You want to become a trusted resource that buyer can turn to if they have a question within your line of work. As with most contracts in the government, they do stem from existing relationships, same as with the commercial world. Additionally, you will want to highlight to the buyer any socioeconomic categories that your firm qualifies under. as these can serve to be a great initial entry point into an agency. I use veteran-owned in my example, but include any and all that qualify, including woman-owned, minority-owned, 8A, or hub-zone, in addition to veteran-owned small business.
Yeah, definitely a good point too. Great way to get in the door. So when building a relationship, what are some key points to remember?
Well, first, ask questions of the buyer. Ask how they buy services or the products that you offer. This will tell you very important data that you will need before obtaining your first contract with a targeted agency. Now, as for referrals, ask, can they provide you with the names of other buyers in their agency? Anyone else that handles similar types of contracts? Ask when they plan on any future procurements in your field. And most importantly, let them know that you are very interested and point out the value that your company brings to the table. For a good relationship to thrive, it must be a win-win for both parties. You will win with contract awards. They win because of the value you bring to their agency. Maybe it's your firm's experience, your attention to customer service, the use of innovative technology or specialized equipment. No matter what your value proposition is, make sure this gets across to the buyer.
Very true. Wonderful information. As usual, I appreciate it. But is there anything else when reaching out to an agency you'd like to mention?
Yes, just make sure to thank them for any information that they have provided you. This goes a long way to ensuring a long-standing good relationship. Thank them both on the phone and follow up with a thank you email. This email should also be a reminder of any tasks that you discussed, any action items, and it is the opportunity to provide the buyer with a copy of your capability statement. We've discussed the value of the high-quality capability statement in prior podcasts, but remember, this is your corporate resume and is an item that government buyers like to retain for future reference.
Well, as usual, always the greatest information. And yes, high-quality capability statement, and it's just another opportunity to hand it out, as you said. All right, well, I think that wraps up today's episode. I appreciate you coming on. I am sure our listeners do as well. Thank you so much, Frank.
Appreciate it, Jesse. Take care.
You got it. This concludes this week's episode of FedBiz'5, where you get informed, get connected, and get results. Today's podcast is sponsored by FedBiz Access, government contracting made simple. Visit them at fedbizaccess.com or contact them at 888-299-4498.